Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to try this configuration. We're going to see how it works tonight. It's nice to be with you in this room and online. We're going to continue with this music that's playing underneath us, Hine Mato from Psalm 133 on page 10.
Hine Mato umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine Mato umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Yeah, big sigh, big relief. Welcome Shabbat on page 2. Tom, would you like to come up to light candles? Stand here and do my thing. I will stand here and do my thing. It's not a trick, I promise. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Tom. Continuing on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Haolam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vochem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon.
back to page 12, Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 95, from the very top of the psalm.
On the following page, the next psalm, Psalm 96, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, sing to God a new song. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Barechu Shemo, Vaseru miyom leyom, Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Barechu Shemo, Vaseru miyom leyom, Yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz.
Continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi and welcoming in the Shabbat presence. Paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and we rise for paragraph 9 to greet the Shabbat presence.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, en Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, en Shabbat lekabela. Shamor b'zachor b'digur echad, yishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad. Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, en Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, en Shabbat lekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haveracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורף ומאורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. הואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Take a moment to wish one another Shabbat Shalom. If you want to walk around the room, you could do that. Or from a safe distance works as well.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're on page
Shabbat
20,
Shalom.
the Psalm for
Shabbat
Shabbat.
Shalom.
Psalm 92.
Rabbi Henry.
Yismor
Shabbat
Shir
Shalom,
and
Peter.
Tzaddik.
Shabbat Shalom, Jay Cheesemeister. Shalom, Peter. Shalom, Marion. Shalom, Bob and Nancy.
מזמור שיר ליום
Shalom,
השבת,
Rabbi Bert.
להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, להגיד ברוך בחסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור ועלי נער, עלי היגיון בכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן, מה גדול מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. Sadik katamari fra ifra. Sadik katamari fra.
Everybody mute yourself.
Katamari fra ifra. Sadik katamari fra. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske yiske. Sadik katamari fra ifra. Sadik katamari fra. Sadik katamari fra ifra. Sadik katamari fra. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske. Ke erez balvanon yiske yiske.
We shift our gears a little bit, page 26 with Chetzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה. ילמד יברח מרותי ימליך מלכותי. בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי תחול בישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויקרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמיר קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן ועלמה ויאמרו אמן.
Please rise in body or spirit for Baruch, page 28.
Lai 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 lai
Mr. Prager, can you mute yourself, please?
את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, u'bitvuna meshana itim, u'mechalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et kochavim, u'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ma'ariv aravim.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותם
may be seated. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. This is Benjamin. Erev Bar Mitzvah, next week. We continue now on page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing at the shores of the sea.
Adonai Yaakov, uge'olu miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Page 42, our nighttime prayer, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, leshalom, v'hamidenu, shomrenu, shomrenu, lechayim, ufros Baruch atah אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו ועל ירושלים שלום. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו ועל ירושלים שלום. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. A celebration of Shabbat on page 44 with a Vishamru. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Continue with the tefillah, with the opening blessing on page, or the opening meditation on page 46. Please rise in body or spirit.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii ge'ula livnei bneihem, למען שמו ביהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, נאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
be seated and we continue silently through the tefillah until page 62.
עושה שלום במרומו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
We turn now to page 253, Misha Berach for healing. Opportunity to think of those in our community, our families, our friends who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. I'll read this list and then invite you to add names. If you add names online, people online will also see it. This evening we hold in our hearts Ira Altshuler, Noam Ben Aviv, Lauren Bush, Gloria Cadwalader, Frank Carl, Lou Salenzi, Alice Elias, Rose Ferraro, Jim Goldman, Ann Fay, Lois Foreman, Sam Kamen, Naum Kaplan, Natalie Klein, Susan Kennedy, Ethel Kennedy, Lee Kramer, Jean Laga, Albert Bupri, Hinda Sarabat Khana Peril, Elaine Lesgold, Mary Ann Linden, Ann Mallinger, Marlene Marcus, Edward Mims, Jim Newman, Joanne Newman, Lev Podorovsky, Adam Schusterman, Sally Seski, Jackie Student, Ellen Sykov, John Spear, Marcia Stewart, Amy Vogel, Lee Willis. Are there any other names for me, Shabbat, tonight? Go ahead.
Rabbi Marcy Bellows.
Pray for healing of body, healing of spirit, Refuah Shlema, in the middle of page 253.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about a couple of, maybe two, I think, verses in this week's Torah portion. There's a lot going on in the Torah portion. In general, there's a lot going on in Genesis and Exodus. In this particular portion, Lech Lecha, we meet Hagar. Sometimes you may hear her name is Hagar. Hagar and Ishmael. We read of the seeds of conflict that are sown between Sarai and Hagar. Avram goes to Egypt. Avram becomes Avraham, and Sarai becomes Sarah. They allowed that both of them have the letter He, which symbolizes God's name, added to their names. And then this is part of the establishment of the covenant with God, between God and our ancestors. So it's really interesting things to talk about. Tomorrow during Torah study, we're going to talk a little bit about Sarah and Hagar. But tonight, I'd like to just pull out two verses. The first is the first two verses of the portion. They begin, Lech Lecha, that's the name of the portion. Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. So a lot has been written over the centuries about that Lech Lecha. So Lech means go, it's an imperative, go. And then Lecha, that becomes a little bit confusing because normally Lecha would be to you. So if you translate that, literally it would be go to you. God is talking to Abraham or Avram, and he says, go to you. Your eyebrows are knitted together. What does that mean? Go to you, right? We often translate it as go forth, but that doesn't really tell us a lot more. Go from this place. But so that leaves out a lot. So tonight I'm going to just do a little bit of a roundup of what the commentators have said about this verse and another one throughout the ages and including today. And we'll call it a rabbinic journey. So this is all about a journey anyway, right? Going forth. God tells Avram, go, leave your house, leave your parents' home, leave your family, leave your home and your town, and go. And that is the beginning of this journey. And journey is like the oldest story in the universe. All good literature is about some kind of journey, and this is about our journey. So we're going to take you some little rabbinic journey. So the 11th century biblical and Talmudic commentator, the one that we quote most often, Rashi, when he's looking at this lech lecha verse, what is it, this phrase? He says that lecha means for yourself. So now we've got go for yourself. And that would mean, in Rashi's understanding, that when Avram goes out, it's going to be for his own good. Like you can imagine when you leave a place, leave everything that you know, whether or not that's going to be good for you is not sure, right? I mean, you don't know. But Rashi says God is saying, go, it'll be good for you, you'll become well-known, you'll become famous, and you'll have this offspring like the stars of the sky. Descendants will be numerous. It'll be safe for you to take this journey. And then I'm going to skip a lot of centuries. The 19th century father of modern Orthodoxy, Samson Raphael Hirsch, understands lecha to mean by yourself. So go by yourself, which he means that in order to properly fulfill God's command, Avraham had to become like a stranger to those around him, willing to stand outside the world in order to view it closely. So there's a lot of, what does it mean to stand on the outside? Sometimes when on the outside of something, we can see more clearly inside, but not always. Sometimes we need to be inside. But this is, so this is him saying he needs to go out and be a stranger, and he needs and to stand outside the world and to be able to take on this new responsibility. Because remember, God is talking to Avraham, and this is where the covenant is, and Abraham's taking on this whole new job description. A classic rabbinic understanding of lech lecha is go to yourself. Lecha, go to yourself. And this means, this understanding calls Avram to go forth and find your authentic self. I think that's a language that some of you in this room know really well. What does it mean to find your authentic self? To learn who you are meant to be, right? What is your truth? And I think this journey that God is sending Avraham is a journey to grow into adulthood, to self-awareness, to find out who and what he's supposed to do in the world. Okay, I'm going to leave that verse for a couple minutes, and we're going to go to a few verses later in verse 9. There's a verse, and just listen, because even if you don't know Hebrew, you should hear some similarities here. Vayisa Avram holech nasoa hanegba. So there's two words in there that should sound maybe familiar to you, or sound the same to you. And Avram journeyed, he was walking and marching southward. So that should sound weird to you. What's the difference between marching and walking? And also, he journeys. So why does it need to say he journeys and he marches and he walks? Seems like a lot of repetition, which means only that we know that we have to look at it more carefully. Some of you will remember Rabbi Jeremy Marquise. He just left Shalom to go to Washington, D.C. He wrote a commentary where he talks about these two forms of the verb in the same sentence. And he notes that translators get around all this sort of repetition, redundancy, by translating the verse, and Avram journeyed in stages. I mean, truly, I have no idea where they get that. But that's what they do, and that's how they translate it. And that is a common understanding. Rabbi Marquise writes, we get a sense that Avram was traveling for some time. He's wandering and walking, and sometimes he was walking, there's no direct path. He says, this hints at essential truth about human experience. There is no direct path, so we might as well head in the general direction. And then Rabbi Marquise continues, our lives are full of traveling in stages, whether physically, emotionally, spiritually, or in self-awareness. We meander our way through life's lessons as we gather experiences along the way. He says, sometimes we walk, sometimes we journey. Different moments of life invite us to engage in different ways, but as long as we head in the general direction of our hearts, desires, and inspirations, we will make progress. So I think that's comforting, actually. Life isn't a straight line. We're going to meander. We're going to shell it, right? We're going to vacillate. We're going to go back and forth. We're not going to know, but we are going to eventually make progress. So Rabbi Karen Kadar, another contemporary rabbi, she picks up on this stage by stage, and she writes, stage by stage, we build a life. Every moment, stage by stage, is opportunity for growth and spiritual deepening. And then she says something I love, Lech Lecha is a call to courageous living. All right, well, my last offering is a poem by Rabbi Yael Levi, and this is her poem. Now, I want you to hear this poem, regardless of how old you are, regardless of where you think you are on your journey, as long as we're breathing and alive, we're still on a journey, right? And it's not gonna always look the same, and I think it's, even if we don't think that it's a physical journey so much, we for sure have spiritual journeys that we can continue on, and there's enough of you that are young enough in this room to really even understand it as a physical journey. So this is Rabbi Yael Levi. She says, this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha, opens with a call to each of us, to all of us, go. Be willing to leave what you know. Be willing to leave who you have been. Lay down the habits, stories, and expectations that have defined and constricted your being. Take with you the support that inspires strength and love. The way forward is unclear, but as you take your steps, the path will appear. And the goal of this journey, the reason to leap, to struggle, to let go, to risk, the reason to rise and fall and rise again and again, is to be a blessing. Remember, that's part of the blessing. That's part of what God tells Avram. Is to be a blessing, to discover anew the good that we are, discover anew the shape of our offerings and the ways the divine can come through us into the world. This moment calls, go deep, reach high, because the ways we live matters, not just to us, but to all those who will call us ancestor. The path awaits our willingness. The world awaits our blessings. May we go with strength and love. And I'm going to teach you a Hebrew expression. It comes from that same word that Rabbi Marquise was picking up, linsoa, to travel, nisiyah tova. You say it, nisiyah tova, means may you have a good journey. May you have a good trip. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכינו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשיבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא,
Kaddish is on page 294. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and all those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us: Judith, Judy Cohen Kalaman, Ray Coffey, Darlene Kennard, Saul Davis, Howard Hanna, Earl Latterman, Jim McKenna, Natalie Newman, Levander Payne, Todd Rasko, Shirley Shepman, Somaya Srinivasan, Norman B. Weisenbaum. We also remember those who died at this season in years past and whose yahrzeit is observed on this week: Harold Beyer, Jeanette Cantor, Abe Clateman, Edward Cohen, Warren Enters, Louise Feldman, Racel Feldman, Louis Hochstetter, Herb Kaufman, Anna Kartonov, Fanny Meth, Corinne Pickus, Harriet Russlander, Hyman Richmond, Esther Saperstein, Harriet Schneiderman, Janet Shear, Edward Howard Slagle, Ann Sonis, Samuel Sugarman, Mac Urbach, Roxine Weinthal, Stephen Wertgen, Bernice Arnheim Stamen, Miriam Yar. Other names for Kaddish tonight? Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for blessing. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dekol beit Yisrael. B'galau v'zman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'tadar v'talev v'talal shmeid kudasha v'yirchu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran b'alma v'amru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Shalom bimroma, uyase shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
Our closing song is on page 321, B'yado. It's the end of, it's the last paragraph of Adon Olam. And thank you, Don and Molly. Nisiat Tova. May you have a safe journey tonight. They're going to a memorial service in Michigan, so we wish you Nisiat Tova. You all know what that means now, right? A good and safe journey. And thank you for tonight, but also helping us get ready for tomorrow. Cantor Laura Berman will be with us tomorrow morning. Thank you, Tom, for lighting candles. Thank you, ushers. Thank you all for being here. Continue with B'yado on the bottom of page 321.
Adonai li velo
Kiddush and is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitsham b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava ufratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techilon lemikra'i kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shavat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Please come get some challah, and also please take your books to the table on your way out.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.